And now we are on Facebook Live. Suzannah Baum on Life Unrehearsed.
Suzannah Baum is the bomb.
Going to be talking body language and you know what? It's really an interesting topic because it's not just for presentations, right? It could be one-on-ones.
Well, it's just everything. And I know as a social worker, I always look at people's facial expressions and body language versus what they're saying.
Yeah.
So that comes up.
So we should be on in about 30 seconds to a minute.
Right.
That's what's playing on the radio now. We'll turn that down.
We missed that, and that's ad.
Oh, you got a music. Oh, yeah, that's what we got to do on Facebook Live. You got to play the ads. Just started advertising on CJD. That's how much I believe in this show.
Hello.
We've got a little Led Zeppelin coming on for you.
You do?
Yeah.
Can we tell how many people are?
Oh, did you like the picture? Do you approve of the picture I put up on our Facebook?
I
Such a
do.
gorgeous
Yeah.
picture.
Thank you.
I took it from your website.
I appreciate that.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. You got some good compliments on that picture.
I did. Well, actually, that's a couple of years old, that one.
Oh,
And
Is it?
yeah, I took it out of circulation and I put it back in, and everyone was like, "Wow, that's a great picture."
I wasn't sure if that was a newer one or
like I'll keep it. No, I'm reusing it. It's all.
I was a rebel and tried it. You know,
I love it. You make decisions.
Yeah,
here we go.
Okay.
Hope you enjoy.
Enjoy the second half. You like that?
Welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. We're rocking it out with Led Zeppelin, aren't we, Curry? My name is Matt Delvecchio, specializing in free retirement home search and senior transition support.
And I'm Corey Sirota, clinical social worker and psychotherapist specializing in grief and loss.
So, Corey, you were away.
I was away, and while I was away, you were on TV with Stephanie, and that was very impressive.
You know, thank you. Very fortunate. Stephanie, my wife Stephanie Cadu, and I were on global television talking about helping mums and dads in transition, which is what we do in our day-to-day lives, and really enjoyed ourselves. It's a fun experience, and yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I do, Corey, have to mention one very important thing. We lost a great Montrealer on Friday night, Av Morrow. Some of you may know or may have heard of Av Morrow. If you've walked into a school or a hospital with shiny floors and clean washrooms, or even at one point in time dried your hands with an Av Morrow dryer, Av Morrow passed away Friday, and I was an Avmore guy for 20 years, part of my family, I consider, and God bless, a real mentor for me, a pioneer in the industry, received the Order of Canada, so condolences to the Morrow family, and Matty Chinks, Paul Golden, and the entire crew. We lost a good one, Corey. Now, what do we have coming up?
So, on that note, it is actually my pleasure to introduce Suzannah Baum, who is a presentation skills specialist, trainer, and executive speech coach. Suzannah helps entrepreneurs, business professionals, and experts create and deliver presentations that help them stand out as a leader. She is the past president of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, the Montreal chapter, and today she's actually here to talk to us about the importance of consistency between what you say and your body language. So welcome to the show, Suzannah.
Thank you, Corey and Matt.
You're welcome.
It's really something, as a social worker, I spend a lot of time looking at the consistency between what someone says and what their body language or facial expressions are. So this is a topic that's so near and dear to my heart, and I'm so glad that we have you to talk to us about it. So let's start with, why is body language so important in communication, and how important is it to be consistent between your body and your words?
Well, you know, it's all about perception, Corey. So while it may take a little time for us as we're listening to someone talk to process what is it that they're saying, if they have a certain tick or something that makes us feel like they're not consistent, we will judge faster based on what we see than based on the time it takes us to process what we hear them saying. So that's why it's really important for us to be mindful when we are standing, whether it's in front of one person or whether we are in front of a group, to know that they're not only listening to what we say, but they're watching how we say it, and they're watching to make sure that we are consistent in our facial expressions and our movements as we say it, or else we lose credibility.
You know, I'm fascinated by this field, Suzannah, of body language. Corey, we talked about this global TV interview. So, of course, you have to see yourself and how you did on TV, right? Well, I could not believe how I use my hands, my hand gestures. Now, I have a good excuse. I'm Italian. You know, it's part of our DNA. We have to do a lot of hand gestures. Now, Suzannah, I guess that could work for you or against you. And we're going to talk different parts of the body. So let's start with the hands.
Okay, so regarding the hands, what should you do with the hands?
Yeah.
So that's a really common question that I get, because for a lot of my clients they hire me because they have to give presentations, whether it's at work, whether it's at conferences, and it's not always comfortable. Right? We don't know, can we move our hands? Do they have to stay at our sides? What if I'm holding something? And I don't necessarily have the answer that people love, because I say, it depends, right? What you do with your hands really depends on you, because you have to be faithful to what feels right for you and your own speaking style. Now, I have seen people try to keep hands at their sides when you know they are just dying to move them. and that's painful for me as an audience member and a coach, but also as an audience member to watch, because I could tell that they are not comfortable standing up there. And I've seen people try to hold back their hand gestures, but I know they just want to let them out. So I often say, you know, it really does take practice, number one. But the second thing is that just be mindful that whatever you're doing, you don't do too much of. So if you are waving your hands because you're Italian, Matt, that's great, because it allows you to come out and speak at your normal speaking style. But if they are constantly moving and your body is constantly moving, your hands are constantly in a fidgeting movement mode, that will eventually get distracting. So you have to be mindful of what is feeling right for me and what is a little bit too much.
Well, you know, she did not say, Matt, keep your hands at your side the whole time. That's all, because if you would have said that, that's it, finished, you know, pack it in.
I want to tell you something, Matt. I always talk with my hands, and I to the point that if I couldn't use my hands, it's almost like having a speech impediment.
That's right, absolutely.
Because for me, it's part of. But I agree with you. It could be way too much.
Yeah.
So what should I be doing with my hands? Or like, what about certain hand movements like triangulation and things like that I've heard about? Or you watch someone, you know, put their hands a certain way. What's up with that?
Well, the triangulation, I think we're talking about that. A few months ago, I was on Breakfast TV because I was asked to come on to speak about the body language of the candidates in one of the debates. And one thing that François Legault had done was he put his hands in sort of a triangle with the point up. And that's really I'm hatching a plan. I have a plan, which is to show others that he is in control, right? This is in control. You can trust me. I know what I'm doing. I know where we're going, right? So it's really all about managing the perceptions when you get really good with body language. And I think once you hit that political sphere, you get coached on it, and you have to be very aware of how people are perceiving you and how every movement of your hands, movement of your eyes, your body, everything, and even your legs, like everything matters, because what you don't want to be is that it's, you know, when you sit you talk to your parents, or, you know, that crazy uncle, and you're like, hey, did you see the debates last night? And he'll be like, you know, that guy, he's just shady. That shady character, right? Doesn't matter what they said, what their plan was, just their mannerisms really have to match, so that your audience and whoever you're speaking to can have faith and trust you.
Absolutely right. We're talking effective communication here on Life Unrehearsed with professional public speaking and communication expert Suzannah Baum. She does know her stuff, and it is intriguing just to get your perspective on that. So we've talked the hands, we've talked gestures. I know facial expressions are a really big deal. So what would you suggest in terms of, you know, proper facial expressions, if you can even control it? Because sometimes I don't even think you can control it.
Yeah, boy, you know, there's a lot to talk about with facial expressions. So I'll talk about the smile as one thing. It's important when you're in front of an audience to monitor your smile, because how your teeth show can be perceived in different ways. So if you show your lower teeth in a smile, that's sometimes taken as a little bit more aggressive and threatening. if you show your upper teeth like a full smile, then it is a full friendly smile, open, engaging. And to be aware of the smirk, you know, where one side comes up, because that's where you're showing that you're not really that interested in the other person.
And this is not just, by the way, about the public speaking lecture. This is someone in a job interview.
Absolutely.
Like someone talking, trying to get a date.
Yeah. And
what message are you
absolutely,
sending?
and the eyes are also extremely important in this too. That when you smile, that the smile reaches the eyes, because if it's a fake smile, it won't come into the eyes, and it's not necessarily a Botox thing. It's really that it could show nervousness or shows, you know, that there's a mistrust almost if the smile doesn't reach the eyes.
Yeah, it is. You know, and we're even going to expand on that. Just we got to head out to traffic first. But when we come back from traffic, Suzannah, I'd like to talk a little bit more about that, because whether you're talking to someone individually, it could be a husband, it could be a child, it could be in a little office presentation, or it could be in front of 100 people. You know, how could you unknowingly be turning off your audience without even knowing it? So we want to talk a little bit more about that. But first, let's head out to the CJD Traffic Center with Mark Shalhoub.
Great. Oh, are you good?
Yeah, very good. Who would have thought? I'm gluing my gum to my bottom teeth.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
You're not ever going to see my bottom teeth.
Well, you know what though? I learned so much of this from, you know, there's so much written about Donald Trump, right? Because he's so much the body language of it, which is very
I can't stand him. He starts talking and I'm cringe.
right?
We don't have to whisper on Facebook Live.
Okay,
We could
okay,
talk
we're not
on
talking
Donald
politics.
Trump.
Totally good. Hi.
Great job so far. It goes quick, huh?
Yeah, it does go
And this
quick.
second part is going to be even
4:45.
quicker.
If
Yeah.
someone you gotta call her, she will
Call me.
make you genius.
So waving is good. Hand
Okay.
gestures is good. Yeah, that's good. That's
Oh,
approved.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Waving
I've
when
been
you're saying
too
hello to someone is
distracting.
good, Matt.
Got to move you around back on the tripod. Sorry for the jumping. Oh, here. Now we got a free ad for Stephanie.
And anxiety seniors experience. Taking the important step of selling a family home is overwhelming. That's why I'm supported by a team of professionals in downsizing, home repairs, and staging. Please visit my website at movingsenior.ca or call 514-885-3524.
Yay! Way to go. All right, so you're going to bring it back?
I am. I always forget that, but I am.
Now, I don't know if I know this song coming up.
Oh, yes, you do. Oh, it's
Oh,
so cute.
yeah.
Oh, it's so fun.
So you have to sing it for our Facebook audience because they're not going to hear it.
No.
Come on,
I do
Corey,
not.
sing away.
No. We do not. Such a
You gotta
cute
drink
song.
water. Drink water. Phyllis said, drink water.
Yes.
Keep going.
Yes.
Keep at
How,
it.
what was her answer? It was a lot.
A lot.
What was it, Corey? You remember?
Sorry?
How much water did Phyllis say?
Oh,
8
God.
to 10, was it?
8 to 10
10
glasses,
like that.
and then more,
More if you're
if you're
exercising.
working out.
Yeah.
At least you won't be able to eat if you drink that much. You won't be hungry anymore.
So you're going to come back with turn-offs?
Okay.
And then we have maybe 2 or 3 more questions. I'd like to go... I'd like to talk about how what's going to make someone a better speaker. You know, we're transitioning a little bit to,
Okay.
but I think a lot of people listening would want to know.
Okay. Better speak now. Yep.
So,
And then you might go with the problem with reading, I guess,
Yeah. I can.
Okay.
Or a
or
common
something
mistake.
that comes up.
Do you want to do leg placement, or is that not important?
Which one?
Leg placement.
It's
It's less of all
You-
the things.
yeah,
Like
it's
I-
the less,
I
but
find
you can bring it up if
It's
there's
body
time,
language.
but
if there's time, I'll go.
yeah.
Posture's good. Posture's
Yes, posture
I'll
is
do-
good.
So I'm going to return the question and not only turn someone off, then you're going to ask about...
Well, maybe I should do, while we're still on the topic of
Okay,
body
so
language, maybe
you'll
I'll
do
do posture
posture
and then someone,
Well-
a better speaker. You know, we're
someone-
sort of transitioning from body into better
Okay.
speaking. Is that
Okay.
good?
Yeah. Let's see how we get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pardon me. Get these coughs. That's what I was saying. When Stephanie and I were doing on the 30th, we were both like flu, and we're both like hacking away, and so
Yeah.
we talked okay, but during commercials, the stuff on Facebook.
I didn't realize you both had the flu.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Oh, here we go.
Welcome back. You're listening to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Corey Sirota with my co-host Matt Del Vecchio, and we are talking effective communication, if I can say it, effective communication with professional public speaking and communications expert, Suzannah Baum. Suzannah, I know that this is absolutely a really important piece of this whole interview. People don't realize they can actually be turning people off, whether it's one person or, again, a big group, with certain body language. Can you address that?
Absolutely. You know, that there are so many ways that we fidget our way out of audience engagement, or a good interview, or a good conversation with a boss, or a part of your team, or even a spouse. So we talked before about hands. I would talk also, part of body language is eye contact. I think very often I've been at these networking events where you start getting into a conversation with someone, they're looking at you, and then they check out who else is walking in the room, they look over your shoulder, and you just see their eyes, they're gone, right? And that's the signals that you are sharing, and you're showing someone else that you are not interested in them. So understanding that the signals that you send, and are you fidgeting too much, are you shifting on your feet, are you moving your arms around too much, are your eyes everywhere, what are you showing your audience and how important they are to you? And the audience, again, could be one person. So it's really about being so mindful about yourself, because they will take away an impression of you, not necessarily based on what you said, but how engaged you were with them and how you were. Yeah.
It's such an important point. And even mindful, I think that the challenge there, let's say, I think eye contact is extremely important. And even if you know you need to do it, it does take some practice. You really have to not shift, and like you say, something's in the background that caught your attention. It's an immediate indicator you don't care about me anymore. Now, related to that, I know posture is very important, and the good old elbow space and leaning in and leaning out. It's like we see that all the time, where people are a little too close, and others are a little very shy and too far. So how important is posture?
Well, posture, closeness is a big piece, like you said, that when you're a little too close, it really depends on the relationship, right? I mean, you could get very close to someone, it could be appropriate if it's someone that you're close to, you're whispering something to them, and at the same time, it can also, in a different situation with a different person, can be thought of as fairly aggressive. When I talk about posture with my clients, very often it's because there's a bit of a slouch in them, their legs are too wide apart, and they sometimes they willingly slouch to look smaller because they are feeling not as confident, and it's almost like they're covering themselves up a little. So when I will tell my clients, when I notice a slouch and I know that they need to stand up a little bit taller, I will share with them that they sort of need to focus on not necessarily pulling your shoulders back, because then you shoot your chest out, but it's and that's not necessarily appropriate. But it's to be mindful of your chest and to just bring it up, and your shoulders should follow, but in a more natural way. And the posture really will make a difference in how the audience sees you in terms of confidence. The more you slouch down, even if it's a small slouch, can make a big difference. And I've had my clients slouch, and I will say to them, can you just force yourself to stand up a little taller? And as soon as they do, the whole room will go, oh. Right? Because
Confidence.
it really
Confidence builder, yeah.
Sure.
how
that
they
makes
are
a lot of
perceived.
sense. That's Suzannah Baum, professional public speaking and communication expert, teaching us how our body language speaks as loud, if not louder, than our words.
Yeah.
So with all of this information, what would you say would help make someone, or is going to make someone a better speaker?
I think it's a big question, whether it's regarding body language or how you are structuring your speech or how you're researching your topic, it really is so much about preparation. You have to know a little bit or get some insights on what you look like when you are speaking to someone. Now, because I deal with public speaking training and I do coaching and giving presentations, I will often recommend to my clients that they tape themselves and then watch. You got to see what it is that you do. Sometimes you may think you're fidgeting with your hands, but in fact it's your legs that are moving. You may not know that you're slouching. So first thing is really got to get a handle on what you look like in front of your audience. And second of all, if you are priming yourself more for a conversation and it's not appropriate for you to tape yourself because you're about to have a conversation, is again to be mindful of your hands, your feet, the fidgeting. If you're going to be giving a presentation and you may need water because your mouth could get dry, and that can be very distracting to an audience. Where is it going to be? How are you going to hold it? Where are you going to stand in a room? You know, where is your screen going to be so that you don't have a back to the audience? It's really about taking in your surroundings and understanding that, you know, almost how to catch yourself if you are doing something wrong as well.
Suzannah Baum, professional public speaking and communication expert, and we're going to switch gears very quickly from body language to public speaking. And there's this, you know, a debate about reading. Corey, even our guests, sometimes we always try to tell them, you know, come in with notes, but don't read notes. It sounds a little robotic. And I think that's the same for public speaking as well. What do you say about, you know, you need to prep, but there's a difference between reading and being natural, I guess.
Absolutely. So, you know, it's a tough one because there are some speeches that can be read. You know, like a wedding speech can be read. You don't have to memorize every single speech, but understand that when you are up there at a podium and you put your eyes down, your whole head goes down, your eyes go down, so you're immediately breaking connection with the audience because your eye contact has disappeared. And your whole demeanor changes because now your head is down, your voice changes because now your neck is constricted a little. And that in itself will make it a little bit more difficult because what we really want is the audience to engage with you, and we are making it more difficult because we're cutting off the connection with them.
Thank you so much, Suzannah. You have given us so much information in such short a period of time. Only you can do this.
Very, very good.
So well and so succinct. How can people get a hold of you? Because there's a lot more to know.
There is a lot more to know. So my website is SuzannahBaum.com. So that's SuzannahBaum.com. My phone number is 514-247-1761. That's 514-247-1761. Absolutely. Call me when you get on my website. You just hit the contact, and my email address is there as well.
And you also have some great videos on there about training, so that's
excellent
also
website.
great.
Yeah, I have
Good
some great videos. I have an online course that helps people create the process of the course, and a lot of videos that can just help you answer some quick questions you may have about public speaking.
Suzannah, thank you very much. Corey, what do we have next week?
Next week on Life Unrehearsed, he's erasing hate messages all over the world. We're going to learn how and why Corey Fleischer does it.
And if the holidays maybe you put you in a little bit of debt, no worries. We have an expert from BDO that's going to help you dig your way out. That's on Life Unrehearsed, where you can catch us every Sunday at 4 p.m. Done.
Dun, dun.
Great. Very, very good.
Dun,
Love this
dun,
topic.
dun.
Good. Okay. So much to talk about too.
Oh,
Thank
yes.
you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Facebook.
Bye, Facebook. See you next
Bye.
week. Maybe
Sunday.
not.